A few months ago, I found myself scrolling through Instagram, feeling drained and uninspired. My feed was packed with stories of people launching their side hustles and pursuing their passions. Instead of feeling motivated, I felt paralyzed, thinking, I should be doing something too. But no idea felt right. It's a common scenario, isn't it? You want to write a book, learn a new language, or get fit, but you end up binge watching another series or scrolling through social media. This is what I call the motivation paradox. We believe inspiration should come first, but often it acts as a barrier. Many of us wait for the perfect moment to start or that sudden burst of inspiration to ignite our progress. Here's the reality. Waiting for inspiration can keep you stuck. I remember when I had the idea to write a book. I scheduled writing sessions, yet I found myself staring at a blank page, waiting for the words to arrive. They never did. The more I waited, the more frustrated I became. Studies suggest that we often overestimate the importance of motivation in achieving our goals. We assume that once we feel inspired, action will follow. But the truth is, taking action is what generates motivation. What if we shifted our focus from waiting for inspiration to taking those first small steps instead? My friend Mark was determined to get fit and often found himself scrolling through fitness accounts, inspired by transformation videos. But whenever he tried to take action, he hesitated, waiting for the right moment to start. That moment never arrived. Instead of diving into a workout routine, he was trapped in this loop of inspiration without action. I saw him set countless fitness goals but never take that initial step. Eventually, after hearing me talk about the importance of just getting started, he decided to take a simple walk around the block. No gym membership, no fancy gear, just him and his sneakers. That evening marked a turning point. He felt energized, and the next day, he went for another walk, gradually increasing his distance. Those short walks eventually transitioned into jogs, and before long, he joined a gym. This illustrates that sometimes all it takes is one small action to break free from the waiting cycle. On the other hand, I've seen many people who waited for that perfect motivation and ultimately gave up, convincing themselves that fitness or creativity wasn't meant for them. The truth is, Mark didn't wait for inspiration. He created it by taking action. Once you recognize the need to take that first step, what comes next? I once set out to learn guitar, convinced that with the right tutorial, my fingers would naturally know where to go. I invested in a high-quality guitar and watched countless videos, yet I remained an amateur. After a few frustrating weeks of waiting for motivation to kick in, I realized I was approaching it all wrong. I was searching for a spark instead of simply picking up the guitar and playing. So, I committed to practicing for just 5 minutes a day. While it seemed minimal, those 5 minutes were easy to fit into my schedule. Gradually, I began to feel more comfortable with the instrument. Even on days when inspiration was lacking, I'd play a simple chord and consider it a victory. Over time, that 5 minutes grew into 10, then 15. Before I knew it, I was jamming along to songs and discovering a joy in playing that I never expected. This principle holds true across all areas of life. Want to write? Start with a sentence. Want to exercise? Do a 5-minute workout. These small actions accumulate, creating a compounding effect. But what do you do when you're still feeling stuck, even after taking those small steps? There was a week when I felt particularly uninspired with my writing. Every word I typed felt forced, and I questioned whether I should give up. Then I had a realization that shifted my perspective. I came across a metaphor that struck me. Waiting for inspiration is like sitting at a bus stop, hoping for a bus that never arrives. Instead of waiting idly, you often need to start moving. This became my aha moment. Motivation doesn't precede action, it follows it. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment, I decided to write about my struggle with motivation. As I documented my experiences, clarity began to emerge, and the words started flowing again. This realization altered my approach, not just to writing, but to any challenge. Whether you're building a business, learning a new skill, or pursuing a hobby, Shifting your mindset from waiting to acting can be transformative. So, how can you apply this shift to your own life? Let's explore practical ways to integrate this mindset into your daily routine. Last year, I set out to cultivate a reading habit. Initially, I aimed high with the goal of reading a book a week, which felt daunting. Instead, I decided to break it down to just a few pages each day. I committed to reading for 10 minutes every morning with my coffee. At first, it was challenging to concentrate, but I persisted. Before I knew it, I was finishing a book every couple of weeks. The key was that I didn't rely on motivation. I simply read. As I read more, my desire to read increased. This principle applies to any goal. Decompose it into small, manageable tasks. If you want to write a book, aim for 200 words daily. If learning a language is your goal, dedicate 15 minutes to practice each day. This strategy helps in forming habits while building confidence. You begin to link action with achievement rather than waiting for motivation. Each small win accumulates, and soon enough, you're on a productive roll. Now, let's discuss the role of accountability and community in helping us take action and maintain motivation. I joined a local writers group last year after struggling with my writing in isolation. I was hesitant at first, but attending that first meeting changed everything. Being surrounded by others also facing similar challenges made me feel less alone. We exchanged our goals, and the encouragement was tangible. I started to appreciate how community fosters accountability. Knowing I'd need to share my progress motivated me to write, even when I didn't feel like it. I set small goals before each meeting and often found myself eager to share my latest work. The group ignited my motivation, and I learned that energy is contagious. When you surround yourself with driven individuals, it's hard not to catch their enthusiasm. Reach out to someone, attend meetups, or join online forums. Connecting with others who share your goals can provide the extra push you need. As we wrap this up, let's reflect on how to break free from the waiting cycle and accept action as the true source of motivation. Looking back on my journey, I see how often I waited for motivation to strike. Now, I understand that action creates motivation, and I'm excited for the future. I no longer fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment. Instead, I set small, attainable goals and take the first step, letting my actions drive the motivation that I used to chase. The next time you feel stuck, think of Mark's first walk or my guitar practice. These small actions can lead to significant transformations. When you feel uninspired, try taking a tiny step. Write a sentence, read a page, or take a walk around the block. You might discover that the motivation you've been waiting for is within arm's reach. It's about shifting your mindset from waiting for inspiration to realizing that action fuels motivation. What will your first small step be? Take a moment to reflect and commit to one small action you can take today.